Welcome to another edition of the Breakfast Club. You will know when it is time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this. I don't think parking should cost money. I find that idea pretty outrageous. When it gets really expensive, it makes it so nobody that is not really wealthy can really come to that city to enjoy it. They end up, it would cost for parking and then they don't have a chance to do anything else, so they just don't go to the city. There are parts of Capitol Hill where the parking is, almost $10 for 2 hours. These are the parking meters. It's just like, no. And what gets me upset is the booting of a car. It's just like, well, if the car shouldn't be there, then, why don't you just tow it away? Why would you put a boot on it? That's stupid. A lot of times people have found that their cars have been booted, not for any sort of illegal parking. People will park at a restaurant parking, they'll go to that restaurant, and then they'll walk across the street to somewhere, over there, and they'll come back, and they're only gone a few minutes, actually. I mean, it could even have been a 7-Eleven or something, for all I know. And they come back to their car to find that a boot's been put on it. And it's just like, no. And the ridiculous thing about it is, if you damage the boot, you're destroying someone else's property. And I'm just like, your property was put on my vehicle. Okay? You're kind of sabotaging my vehicle. You're making it so I cannot drive my vehicle without damaging my vehicle. This means, to me, legally, that would mean that I should be able to do with that boot whatever the heck I want. You've sabotaged my car. I should be able to remove it. No, if you damage it at all, you have to pay a fine. Oh, well, you shouldn't park here, so we're going to make sure that you park here. It's stupid. There are places where if someone doesn't pay child support, they get their car booted. It's just like, excuse me? So you're going to make it so, you're not paying anything, so we're going to take away your ability to get to your job. Oh, that's really, really, I don't know what kind of convoluted logic someone has to do something like that, but you don't do something that threatens someone's ability to work. I was just appalled at that. People, there are so many places where you can't really get to by bus. You can't really get to via public transportation. Are they expecting someone to spend 3 hours getting to work? Well, they've been able to take these buses, then they can ride a bike from here to here. Some people have to drive a long ways to get to work. It's really the only way, because a lot of those cities that they're working in are too expensive to live. So it's just like, wow, So let's take away someone's ability to work because they weren't paying child support. I think the way that child support is handled, I think, is terrible. I think it and there are cases where they'll have their DNA tested and they'll find that some of these people aren't the father, but then they're still required to pay child support? How the hell does that work? That's awful. I think there needs to be some more options. And how many kids end up being taken away from their fathers, and the father doesn't even have visitation rights? Well, if he didn't do things just the right way. And then the whole idea that someone has to pay child support for someone they're not allowed to see. Obviously, if someone has truly been proven to be harmful, like someone beats their kid or something, yeah, that makes sense. But if we're talking about, I think of the movie Mrs. Doubtfire. Robin Williams' character wasn't allowed to see the kids except for these very, very specific times. I don't get that. I don't get it. But going back to the boot on cars, the idea that you're going to make it much harder for someone to get to work because they didn't pay child support. There are a lot of things that are messed up for guys. But seldom do they get talked about without it being some hate fest on feminists. Seldom do they get talked about just on their own, without it being some like ponage video or something. Or it's coming from traditionalists. We're not supposed to find labels for groups of people that do this. No, don't say that phrase. Don't say MRAs. Yes, don't say butt smear, say asshole or something. Line from Tank Girl. I guess I don't really know what to say now. Other than this lens on this camera is weird. It's like, if I get to the side, as you see, it becomes blurry, right? But if I get to the side and then get closer, you know, it's got this weird, so you gotta, yeah, that's about the level that it has to be, right? And it's like that on everything. And I've wondered, what would happen if there was a lens that, if it's even possible to have a lens that does it the other way around. So it has to be further away when you get to the edges for it to be clear. This here is a $30 Fotassi 35 millimeter f1.7. And it's normally meant for CCTV. It was originally for security cameras, but it's been shown to have some artistic qualities. So, anyway. Sewing on a pant leg. Welcome to my pant leg.